Well, that went better than I thought it would. I mean, okay, I'd lost my nerve and hadn't tried to go any farther than just making a connection and exchanging numbers. But considering it was the first time in a year that I'd even thought about connecting with someone, I'd call it a win. With John's number in my phone and butterflies in my stomach, I went back to the table. I hadn't even pulled out my chair before Ethan's eyes widened and he squeaked, "What are you doing?" "What?" I shrugged and gingerly sat down. "You walked away from him?" I shrugged, folding my arms on the edge of the table. I didn't want to push my luck. He seemed, "Honey!" Ethan stared at me. "He's obviously into you." My face burned and I laughed nervously. "Oh, come on. I think he's kind of into me, but kind of." Ethan tisked and rolled his eyes. "Girl!" He gestured at the bar where I'd been chatting with Jon. "What the hell are you waiting for?" I avoided his gaze as I went for my drink. "Look, I'm just not sure I'm ready for this." "For what? You're hooking up, not eloping." That should have made me laugh, but instead it kind of made my skin crawl. "No, we're not eloping, but hooking up is—" I grimaced. "Dude, no one without a medical degree has seen me naked in almost a year, and I am not what I was a year ago." And? He inclined his head. "You're hot, and he's into you, sweetie." He reached into his pocket, pulled out a condom, and tossed it on the table between us. "Screw him in the dark if it makes you feel better, but seriously, what are you waiting for?" My first instinct was to flick the condom back to him and tell him to back off. He didn't know how rough this had been on me, how my worry over my body, both the way it looked and the way it felt, had put me off even thinking about sex for the foreseeable future, regardless of what my libido had to say about it. Except I'd made that connection with Jon. And I did want to see if there really was some chemistry there, or if it was all in my head. The way he'd been looking at me, I had no doubt that if we reconnected tonight or another night, sex would be on the table, and I wanted it. With him. It wasn't like he knew who I was, so he wouldn't spend the whole time comparing me to what I used to be. And maybe this would be like the first time I'd returned to the ice after recovering from a bad knee injury. A whole lot less of an ordeal than I'd made it out to be in my head. I'd been terrified to get back to skating, never mind playing hockey, because I was sure I'd destroy my knee all over again. That first practice session had been a huge relief, and it made me feel like a dumbass for worrying so much to begin with. It was entirely possible that was what would happen here.